My name is Eric Ferguson, and I'm running for the office of the President of USAPA.
I am Jeff Kuntz, and I'm running for the position of Vice President of USAPA. Date of hire is the gold standard. It's nothing more than a convenient opinion used by those who, since the first day of this merger, have sought to compensate for the unfortunate track of their own careers at the expense of the AWA pilots. The undeniable truth is that arbitration is the gold standard. That is a fact. Whether by internal agreement or federal law, this is how disputes such as ours are supposed to be settled, and it is settled. It was finished long ago, and it will not go away. If you ever want to get on with your life and negotiate a new contract, your future can only include the Nicolau Award.
The former America West pilots are sympathetic to the losses suffered by the U.S. Airways pilots in the aftermath of 9/11 and the economic downturn around that time. The two bankruptcies, deep furloughs, staggering concessions, and the loss of your pension is a fate we would wish on no one. However, the East pilots must understand that these things preceded the merger and that the America West pilots had nothing to do with these unfortunate events. That is precisely why it is unconscionable that the founders of USAPA made the decision to try and recoup their terrible losses on the backs of the America West pilots instead of the company.
It must be clear by now that the West pilots have not weakened in their resolve to enforce their legal rights. The founders of USAPA assumed, now many years ago, that the West would not fight. If they did fight, we would fight ineffectively, or surrender, or fragment, or collapse in the face of overwhelming odds. It didn't go as planned for the USAPA founders. The West remains as unified as ever and continues to mount an effective legal campaign. In contrast, the former East pilots are now mired in deep, vicious, and public infighting. It is obvious that the Nicolau has not and will not go away. Contrary to the proclamations of USAPA's founders that the Nicolau Award would, quote, die on a shelf, it is very much alive and well. Failure of the East to accept the reality is the real obstacle.
It is clear to all but the most delusional among us that the current leadership's continued insistence on date of hire is holding up contract negotiations. Clearly, a small minority of formerly furloughed East pilots continue to hold the majority hostage over the seniority issue. Although this group accounts for less than 1/4 of the combined group, they hold the real majority hostage over this singular issue. As a result, we would be mired in our divided state as long as the real majority sits idly by, allowing this group to maintain control. This election, unlike any before, amounts to a referendum wherein the will of the true majority will be heard loud and clear. I believe the results will proclaim, we are ready to honor our obligations, we are ready to accept the truth, we are ready to give up on a failed strategy, we are ready to move forward together. The other candidates in this election will either tell you that they will fight for date of hire until the bitter end, or alternatively, that the dispute is out of their hands and that they will simply allow the courts to decide. Both of these approaches are certain to burn through many years and lots of money at the same time.
There seems to be some confusion as to how the declaratory judgment now underway in Phoenix might end the seniority fight. In order to accomplish anything for its state of hire position, USAPA must affirmatively prevail on count number 2. There could be no gray area in the ruling. Anything short of an unequivocal ruling which states, quote, entry into a CBA with a non-Nicolau seniority list would not constitute a violation of USAPA's DFR, and U.S. Airways is therefore not prohibited from implementing a non-Nicolau seniority list, end quote, will not clear the way for U.S. Airways to negotiate any seniority list other than the Nicolau. Even if USAPA is fortunate to get such a ruling from Judge Silver, it will not eliminate USAPA's DFR to the West pilots in accordance with the Ninth Circuit's ruling in Addington. In short, the West pilots will again sue when it deviates from the Nicolau, this time when the dispute is unquestionably ripe. The fact is the company's lawsuit only addresses U.S. Airways' liability. USAPA will not be off the hook even if it is determined that the company may deviate from the Nicolau.
Simply put, the dispute will not end until the Nicolau is in place or until the West pilots quit. It would be unwise to believe that the West pilots are about to give up. Any other view is naive at best. The illegal date of hire objective embodied in the USAPA Constitution holds no more sway over our future as does any law which is found to be illegal. Paragraph 8D of the USAPA Constitution is of no effect when we recognize it for what it is and always has been, an illegal and contrived obstacle which should never have been created and whose time is long past. Together, we will disregard USAPA's illegal objective and then let the dissatisfied sue the association if they wish. Unlike the West pilots, they cannot prevail. Only a vote for Eric Ferguson and Jeff Kuntz will prove you agree with this plan. This will be required to send a clear message to the BPR that you are ready to move beyond USAPA's self-created date of hire obstacle. If you elect me, Eric Ferguson, as president,
And me, Jeff Kuntz, as vice president.
we will end this fight and obtain an industry-leading contract.
Please visit our website routinely. We will have weekly video messages where we will outline how we are going to get you an industry-leading contract. Most importantly, we want to hear from you. Send us an email with your questions and we will answer them on our blog found at the bottom of this website.